1 year later, greenhouse results and plant collection changes are coming up in this video. I can't believe it either that all this time has passed already. A lot has changed in this greenhouse. Some plants exploded with growth, some struggled, a few almost didn't make it, and I made some major functional changes that completely shifted how I grow here in Trinidad and in my new home. I think the biggest mind shift, though, through it all and after all this time, is that some plants don't want to be in a greenhouse, and I'll show you those changes that I've made also. Before I get into it all, if you're new here, yes, this is a faceless plant YouTube channel. I personally prefer plant views, especially for videos like these where we'll be troubleshooting and presenting results. If you've been following my plant chores videos, then we've done a lot of troubleshooting together already, and today I'm showing you the real results, what worked, what didn't, and what I'd do differently. I'm also going to do a brief tour just to show you all my most thrilling plants at the moment. Okay, so welcome back. Just to reiterate, I grow primarily tropical aroids here in Trinidad in the Caribbean, so I'm dealing with high humidity, intense sun, heavy rainfall, and warm temperatures year round. In the last update, we cleaned out the greenhouse and I made some repairs, and now I'm going to show you what else has changed. The first major change, and this might be quite contradictory, is that you would have noticed that I no longer have fans in the greenhouse. Initially, I added them because my plants were wilting because the heat index in this polycarbonate greenhouse was ridiculously high. It seems as though my plants have now acclimated to this new environment, and the reason for my fungal issues in the past was because of overcrowding. I'm going to give you all the tour now so you can see the results of removing the fans and reducing the quantity of plants in here. I'm going to link the greenhouse series for you all in the description so you can watch the full acclimation process unfold. The general arrangement in here remained the same, and the existing alterations we made for increased ventilation structurally has proven to be sufficient now. My queen anthurium, that's the dark form, has never looked better, and to me that plant in itself is a testimony to the work that I've been doing and everything that you've been privy to on this channel, just to confirm that finally I'm doing something right. I'm going to get into each of these changes and explain my new growing manner and just get into it all with you guys, just so that we're on the same page moving forward, and hopefully the next update will be even better. So besides the structural changes I made in the greenhouse to help better the airflow in here, I was able to remove the fans not only because of those structural changes, but because I adjusted the spacing between each plant in the greenhouse. Basically, I decluttered. Fungal issues were on repeat even with the presence of the fans. And that is what made me realize that the greenhouse was too cluttered for such a high humidity space, especially living in a tropical climate like Trinidad. So after selling off some plants and giving some away, my fungal issues became negligible. And as crazy as this sounds, I actually started forgetting to put the fans on in the greenhouse. I even wasn't recharging them on time. The Christmas season was upon us and I got caught up, and I don't know, the plants were just performing well, and I realized, hey, maybe I don't need fans in here again. I also gained space by moving some of my plants outside of the greenhouse. As I mentioned before, some actually prefer to be outside of the greenhouse, which shocked me. The takeaway here is if your watering regime as well as your fertilizing schedule is fine, but your plants still seem stunted, I would check the airflow. Efficient gas exchange in plants have never been more apparent to me. So I would say make sure your plants aren't overcrowded if you're experiencing stunted growth and while everything else seems fine. So now that I think I have my ventilation situation sorted out, I had more time now to focus on my fertilizing and pest management strategies. I'm genuinely just trying to be more consistent with these things. That has been evading me, as you know, we've had a lot going on with the move and just our personal to-dos piling up. So, something had to give, and unfortunately it was, the care that I was providing to my plants. So now I'm working on being consistent. In my plant chores videos, you'll be able to see all the products that I use and how I use them. So after the tour in here, I'll just show you all quickly what exactly those are. But if you want more information, just check out any of my plant shows videos. Coming up also, I want to show you all, well, I want to dive deeper into how my collection itself has evolved, having grown them in the greenhouse and them having acclimated to my new space. Specifically, I'm going to highlight a couple of my variegated plants and also the ones that are struggling. Some plants are still struggling, even though I've tried my best to provide ideal conditions for them. And then I also want to feature the plants that surprised me the most. Generally, now, as the tour is coming to a completion, I am really satisfied with the way this greenhouse has been operating. It really lived up to its reviews in terms of just being a magical space, the way it brings back plants from the dead, to say the least, and just general upkeep is easier. So far, these are the plants that I think have been doing the best in the greenhouse, and those are alocasias, anthuriums, velvet philodendrons, and anything that you want to propagate. It is just the biggest propagation dome if you want to look at it like that. So it's great for propagations as well as bringing plants back from the dead. So any rescues will do great in a greenhouse like this. I almost forgot calatheas and marantas. They have really exploded with growth or came back from the dead in here. To me, it's not essential for philodendrons, and in my experience, Hoyas do not like it in here. I will also do a quick tour of the plants that I've moved out of the greenhouse. You can kind of see it in the background there and show you guys which ones I've moved out and have come back to life, and that was another shocker. And that basically wraps up the tour inside of the greenhouse. This is just my last propagation shelf. I'm going to move on to just featuring my fertilizers and other products that I use next, and then take you all through the plants that prefer to be outside of the greenhouse. As promised, here is my fertilizer lineup. I use TPS1 as my general fertilizer. I use CalMag interchangeably, as well as TPS Silica Gold to help with just plant variegation and just increase resilience in general. So those are my go-to fertilizers, and these are my supplements for propagations. Super Thrive as well as Great White. These are essential for me when I'm propping. Let's get into how my collection has evolved next, starting with some of my variegated plants. In view is my philodendron White Princess, and I'm not joking. This plant was completely reverted when I moved here. Finally, it is just coming back to life and is absolutely thrilling to watch. Here's another showstopper, my philodendron Red Anderson. When we moved, it started reverting, and now it is just coming back to life as well. Next is my Monstera albo that actually prefers to be outside of the greenhouse. It really does want more light, so placing it outside really made all the difference to me. And in general, with these variegates, I have been consistent with fertilizing as well as my silica applications, and they are thanking me for it. And finally, my variegated fiddly fig has started branching all the way at the bottom, and I'm just mind blown. I'm just so happy to see my plants, especially these variegates, happy again. On the opposite end of things, these next batch of plants are still struggling since we moved. At one point, they were in the greenhouse, then they were outside of the greenhouse. They didn't seem to be happy in any particular place, and I am still struggling with them today. In view is my variegated mycons that has reverted. I've completely chopped it back here, and I'm hoping that the chop helps. Another plant that has had the same fate is my Epipremna marble. This one has moved around a lot from inside the house to inside the greenhouse to outside fully now, and I'm hoping that this exposure to some direct sun could possibly bring back the variegation. I've also chopped it to bits. These were the top cuts. It has been maturing beautifully, but just, reverted. So I'm hoping the chop also helps. If you have any recommendations for me on either of these, and I'm going to add another, which is actually my variegated synapsis. If you have any recommendations for me, please drop them in the comments. But that one has also been chopped back. This is the butt cut. I'm hoping it reshoots and grows nicely. But for now, I've just taken the top cut and I'm basically propping it to start it over. The last in this batch of my most struggling plants is my Tenanti White Star. And this has been primarily a pest issue, spider mites to be specific. It is just always engulfed in spider mites. I have to check on this thing every day, possibly give it a clean down every couple of days. That's the only way I was able to get some new growth. The damage you can see very clearly, but this is the ultimate spider mite magnet. Don't get me wrong though, it did come back from the dead in here, hence the reason I still have it in here, but it's just a pest magnet. What I have learned about my reverted plants is that variegation is primarily genetic, but where we come in is being able to control the amount of environmental stress the plant is being subjected to. So, for example, I supplement a lot using TPS silica and try to stay on top of my feeds. And what I think my weakness is right now is figuring out the right lighting situation for my plants in this new environment. So I think that's something we could all look forward to, and hopefully I'll have some good results. In view right now is my anthurium, my queen anthurium, the dark form, followed by my anthurium luxurians chocolate. If you haven't realized, I'm moving into the category of the plants that surprised me the most. When I thought these were goners, I put them in the greenhouse and the magic started. Another one is one that I haven't featured very frequently. It's my Ulerum Donbursii. I'll put the name up for y'all. But this one always struggles to put out leaves for me, and it has just not only increased in size, but now it has two leaves. Another one that is now coming back that I've struggled with for the entire time it's been in my collection is my variegated cast iron plant. It still looks, like a hot mess, but it's coming back. And my fibrocataphyllums, my philodendron fibrocataphyllums, I recently did a video where I partnered with Magnolia Landscaping. I put them in Magnolia's soil, and all of them have flourished. I have multiple leaves, they're climbing, and I couldn't be happier that this transformative philodendron is finally, on its way in my collection again. In keeping with how my collection is evolving, I want to show you all the two newest additions to it. You can watch this video next for all the details on these two new plants that I've added to my collection within the last year. I've really held off with all of the might in my body from plant shopping. I mean, I guess it wasn't so hard to hold off because when you're seeing your plants suffer through such a huge change in that, we moved homes, they're now acclimating to living in a greenhouse or just living in a new environment altogether. You really don't feel to shop as much, but there are moments where I really was tested because there were quite a few unicorn plants, I would say, that just started popping up in Trinidad, and I really, really had to hold my hand from shopping. But anyway, I ended up getting these two just to pacify myself. At first, I wasn't too sure of the ID on this philo. If you know, please comment below. But I bought it as a Dean McDowell by Gloriosum hybrid. And this one in view is the second one that I got, which is a variegated bird's nest fern. These two aren't quite popular in Trinidad, so I didn't want to miss this opportunity altogether. I know with the imported plants that are becoming a lot more available in Trinidad, there will be a chance for me to acquire them at some point. With these, however, I was feeling the risk of not getting them in my collection at all, or me having to wait a really, really long time. So I just bit the bullet and I got these two so that, I also got to pacify myself a little bit and give myself a little reward. Onto this special feature, which is my philodendron soderoy. This is an example of one of the plants that did not thrive or do well in the greenhouse at all. There was stunted growth. It just refused to grow. And then I moved it outside and this leaf grew. So pretty much in the past year, I focused less on shopping and more on bringing my collection back to life or managing the plants in my existing collection. To me, having a manageable collection keeps the hobby exciting. It keeps you present. It allows you to celebrate new leaves instead of stressing over decline. When your plants thrive because you actually have time to care for them properly, to me, that's where the real joy is. With that said, I just want to share a couple lessons, which I guess I should just start with saying, having a manageable collection to me is much more valuable than just having a large collection or just continuing to expand without proper care. And this plays into being able to stay consistent with your chores and just to be able to provide a stable environment for your plants, which really make them thrive and not just survive. To me, this plant hobby is the most therapeutic thing I've come across, and plants are supposed to be inspiring in my mind from what other hobbyists say. But when you're overwhelmed, constantly fighting decline, constantly behind on maintenance, it stops feeling like a hobby. And I have felt that. And it starts feeling like a responsibility I couldn't keep up with. So I made a conscious decision to keep my collection at a size that I can manage for now so that I ensure that my plants not only survive but thrive, like I said before. I can definitely say at this point, having the greenhouse has made things so much more manageable for me. So now that my planty space feels so much more peaceful again, because when every plant gets proper attention, meaning the watering is intentional, the pest checks are consistent, the pruning is thoughtful, I can actually think about expanding. And here's where I'm going to share some future plans with you guys. If you've been following along, then you would have a fair enough idea of what's happening. But besides being able to plant style my home, of which I've started with my entryway, which is in view here, I want to shop, yes, but I actually want to get cracking on my kitchen garden in a real way. I think I've set up the space, I've tested the space out with a couple plants. I'll link a couple videos for you all to get caught up with my outdoor space, but I really want to get my kitchen garden going. And I want to automate my irrigation in the greenhouse to make things even more seamless when it comes to care for my collection. And finally, having shared those plans with you guys, this is where you all come in. If you've been there and done that, please comment below and just share your recommendations with me in terms of if you have your kitchen garden going or if you've set up an automated irrigation system for your plants. And I think that's it for this one. If you're a tropical plant collector, especially if you grow in high humidity climates like the Caribbean, Southeast Asia, or Florida, let me know what you're struggling with in the comments. I would love to, discuss solutions and just learn more of anything in this plant hobby that I could. I'm building this channel to be a real troubleshooting resource. If this update helped you, consider subscribing because I document everything, the wins and the failures. As I mentioned failures, you can watch this video next to see the plants that actually almost made me cry during this acclimation process, the ones that I've lost.